It's magic in the air. No one sees and some don't care, but it's there, it's there. Have faith in love. Have faith in us. What would love do? What would love do? Don't give up. We do. What do we do? Don't give up. What would love do? Don't give up. Don't give up. Don't give up.
Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm Michael Sandler, your host on Inspire Nation. If you've ever wanted guidance from beyond, now more than ever, then do we have the Oracle Cards 101 show for you. Today I'll be talking with internationally acclaimed intuition expert, oracle expert, best-selling author, and host of the TV show Messages from Spirit, and the creator of our all-time favorite oracle deck, among many others, the Spirit Animal Oracle card, and the upcoming class Oracle Cards 101. And that's just what I want to talk with her about today, about how to get wisdom, guidance, and reassurance from the spirits during these exceptionally challenging times. That, plus we'll talk about the importance of dragonflies, bee spirit calling, fear viruses, and thought viruses. Gotcha. The power of virtual hugs, why we all need a hall pass, and what in the world ravens have to do with anything.
Oh my God, that's so amazing.
Welcome back to the show, Colette. Are you ready to shine?
Oh my God, that is the best, most hysterical. Obviously, you've been listening to me, but that is the best, amazing, like, I cannot tell you. And thank you, by the way, too. I love that you're wearing the stag horn from my animal, my spirit animal deck. That's so funny. And thank you for having me again. I think, yeah, you know, we need each other more than ever right now. So your show has always been one of my absolute favorites. So I'm very happy to be here.
Woohoo! So, Colette, I was out shopping this morning. Fear energy is up in the consciousness. We'll talk about watches, heart math device, all of this stuff in a minute. But give me some good news.
There is some extraordinary things happening right now. And I know that there's two things going on.
Yes.
One, which we'll talk about in a second, because one blots out the good news. And because we're only looking at the survival, right? So when we are afraid, and by the way, I think problematically, the infodemic has been more troublesome than the pandemic, right? Because it creates that thought virus, which then really perpetuates fear. And we see how people are behaving in the stores. We see that, like, nobody's thinking about the people who may not be able to come and get a month of groceries in advance. So it's the panic shopping, the panic buying, and the even the languaging, which is, I'm so against this social distancing thing. You know, it should be just physical distancing. We're not supposed to socially distance. We're not supposed to say, go away. We need each other more now than ever, right? Now, more than ever, we need our communities. We need to come together. Yeah. So that's just my feeling. So if we were to remember that, if we could find whatever protocols, and there are many people that have them, there's so much going on right now, so many wonderful opportunities to learn techniques and protocols to keep us calm, then we can recognize the beauty of this. This is the first time in our history, certainly those of us who are alive on the planet today, we've never seen this before, nor have we ever been as connected as we have been, and as disconnected. So the good news is this tragedy, I feel anyway, is knocking down all the borders towards the other. This virus doesn't care what color we are, how much money we have, what country we live in, you know, all those things that, you know, that we've created, these systems that we've created of oppression and, you know, and inequality, you know, it's getting leveled pretty quick. And I'm, you know, it's funny, I'm not much of an activist, but I am an activist now. It's like, I feel like, you know what, when we get our life back together again, we better change. And I want to be part of that change. Now, that said, the good news is the fact that if we could just slow down for a second, right, and really get that by us staying indoors for temporary, it's not forever, by us, doing these physical distancing to ensure that this doesn't get spread and to take care of one another. The skies are clearing. There's less pollution. The rivers are clearing. It's like Mother Nature sent this, again, not to make an Armageddon, that is BS, to say to us, hey, we've got to do something. Like, you are effing up. Like we've got to do something here. So we're going to send you this. There's this beautiful video that's Italian and in English subtitles. And it is, obviously, it's an artistic expression of if the virus were talking to us. And she says, I am not your enemy. Mm-hmm. And she says, I'm here to help you remember that the earth, you are the earth. You are at home in the earth. You are a part of me and us, and you need to remember each other and loving one another and seeing but also showing us pictures. I sent a fire, that didn't work. I sent the icebergs are melting, that didn't work. Now I'm sending you this to make you stop. The universe has been speaking to us for a long time. We have to view each other differently when we're done. We need each other. And we need to really make radical changes in our systems, and especially around, for me right now, it's a no-brainer. It's like, we are all equal. Whatever our histories have created, we are equal to one another. We need each other equally. This is the great equalizer. We need to reach across the aisle now and say, whatever you believe, whatever you see, at our fundamental core, we are one species. One, just one, not a bunch of different ones. We are one. Yes. And that unity and diversity, that it's funny. I didn't actually follow him, but I had this bizarre relationship to some avatar named Sai Baba, and who's dead now. And his vibhuti, somebody gave me some of the sacred ash that he would make like magic out of his hands. I know there was a lot of very strange stuff around his reputation. However, it just would grow in my house, and I kept trying to get rid of it and throw it out. But it was like this magical ash, and it smelled so wild. It smelled just like Nag Champa incense. And I made friends at the time with the person who founded the Hard Rock Cafe. This Isaac Tigert was his name, and I lost touch with him years ago. But he was a big devotee of Sai Baba, and he was an Indian guru. Anyway, if you look in the Hard Rock Cafes, it says, love all, serve all, unity in diversity, right? And that is something that, and we do need to learn to be respectful and to understand how we have not been, et cetera. That we have a lot of work to do ahead of us. But I think that this moment right now is going to keep us here long enough until we figure it out. And I don't think it's a couple of weeks. I definitely think it's minimum a couple of months, minimum. And we need to start thinking differently about our behaviors and what we've done. Now, I don't want to be in a pulpit because although I feel like I'm at church every day, I'm on the internet lately, I feel the most extraordinary energy, creative energy right now. Yes. I'm almost high with it. Because we get another chance.
It is our time.
It's our time. I feel that we've been born. We are the ones we've been waiting for. But we do have a choice. And I still think we could F it up. And we can't just be Pollyannas and think just because this happened, we're all going to automatically get it together and be kinder to each other. Right now, we need it. Because, my husband pointed that out. He says, he's kind of a bit of a cynic. And because I'm a Pollyanna, I'm like, I believe so strongly in the beauty of the ability for mankind to turn this around. I believe that. And we owe it. In my lifetime, I feel that it is an obligation. It's an obligation, right? It's an obligation. And even the way we eat, whatever. It's like, it doesn't mean, it's not like, oh, maybe I'll change. No. There's some things that really got to go. But that said, he said it was like after World War I, there was another war. After World War II, there were more wars. It's like, when are we going to figure out that none of that crap has worked? So I think the beauty that we have right now, because there is beauty, is that we get to think about new ways. And I believe the younger generation, the younger ones, man, they are who we've been waiting for. Those young people, those millennials and under, like all of those, the new ones, these kids who are being born with an idea that they are part of this earth, they are going to change the world. But I want to make sure we leave them a world that they can change.
We're plugged into this field. Yeah. What's going on with that right now?
I believe that consciousness is fundamental to all life, and I'm an animist. An animist is somebody who believes that there is a spirit in all things, that that spirit exists in all things, including inanimate things, supposedly, right? But my great-grandmother was Mongolian, so she came from a culture that there was a shamanic culture. They were animists. They believed that. So that was greatly instilled upon my dad. His grandmother was a midwife, and my dad was born. His twin died, and she actually midwifed my father's birth. So when he taught me how to read Turkish coffee cups and taught me all of this, he taught me that, even though he was also an engineer and wanted me to be a lawyer, you know what I mean, and never do readings full time. But when I think about my ancestor, who came from Western Mongolia, they were my father's family were horse traders, and so she came over with the horses. But she was a midwife, but she couldn't have been more than a teenager, mid 1800s, right? So, but this was been instilled in me, and I believe it with every ounce in my body. So, and yes, it can be personified, but ultimately, at the end of the day, consciousness is this great, vast matrix that we're plugged into. We just are, because we're part of it. Like, if we're made in the image or of this consciousness, then how the heck are we not part of it? We are. So that said, some of us, empathic people like yourself and myself, but I'm surprised you're so slim. I swear to God, by the end of this, I'm going to go, the only thing I'm going to write, I'll have a memoir. It's going to say, the coronavirus made me fat. I can gain 5 pounds not eating anything different, because I'm on a really clean food plan, and I'm like eating super clean. And I'm like, what the heck? I tried my pants on this morning, and I'm like, what the hell happened to my I was like, the coronavirus made me fat. But anyway, that I digress. So let's go back to talking about consciousness. So empathically, I went through a little bit this morning, and my husband looks at me, he goes, you're having a trauma response, because I've had trauma in my past. My family lost everything. Yes, I was gang raped when I was 19. Okay, fine. All those things are true. But what's true is that I am a radio tower for people's feelings. And empathically, I am tuning into the waves. They come through my body. It's like I'm like this radio tower. I can't help it. And it isn't my trauma response, because I know it comes and goes quite quickly with me. So, but we also have to acknowledge that can also be happening. I am tuning into people's trauma responses, because some people cannot cope with the amount of information that they're getting, which I think, like I said, the thought virus, the fear virus, it really triggers the trauma response in many people. But for us as empaths, we're going to notice fluctuations in our weight or our appetites, but we will see our moods be very changey. And so I'm like, I'm just letting it be. And I had to say to my husband, look, I'm going to be like this. I can't help it. It's like I get slammed with people's feelings, and then I have to sit back and go, is this mine?
Yes.
Oh, no, but I did feel the pathos of the planet when I woke up this morning. I felt this empathy and this sympathy for the planet, and this ability. I can respond to what I need to do in 24 hours. And that's what we have to remember, is we just have to stay in 24 hours.
It's interesting that you mentioned people's trauma coming up, because everybody, if they're listening to this, they're empathic because they're attracted to this energy that you and I have. And I used to say we're light workers. If you're listening, you're a light warrior. Now is your time, but you must be more present with what's going on inside of you than ever. Forgiving, you can allow yourself to have the roller coaster ride. Good luck trying to control. Well, maybe we can control almost all of it. I think the big thing is we can bring it back fast and bring it back faster.
It's not, I'm going to interrupt you. It's not about control. It's about neutral observing it. So I teach that in, well, actually my book, The Map, and also my book, Uncharted, which was published way too early. It really should have been published now because it's perfect for these times. The idea that if we can get to the observer within us, because there is a neutral observer, we don't have to change anything. Everything is allowed to exist in its integrity. It's as it is. It just needs to be able to we need to be able to step back out of it without trying to control it. So we can get certainty. We can find certainty when we connect to our higher power and we release the need to control, and we can step back. And, my Get on Your Bird meditation, I have a lot of those things. I've done them before on your show too. There are lots of protocols in order to get into neutral. It's not about control. You will fail if you try to control it.
So let's go from there. Maybe you can share a little bit about oracle cards. And then I'd like to do a big reading for all of us.
What I'd like you to do today, instead of looking at oracle cards as a woo-woo way to do fortune telling, let's not go there at all, even though many readers use oracles in their divination experiences with people, okay? Yeah. I want to boil it down because these are like tarot cards, but they're different because they're all oracle cards. Tarot cards are oracle cards, and oracle cards are oracle cards. That means that the oracles or messages, wisdom, are pictorial, and they're on each card. So when you choose a card through the law of synchronicity, it's going to speak to something in you that is meaningful for you. And that is how oracle cards work. But I would like you to consider that oracle cards are the new self-help, and they are used for your self-care. So I know it was funny. We did a poll and we asked people, what do you like better, self-help or self-care? And somebody wrote, oh, that's so 80s. I'm like, but we need help. We're not broken. None of us, well, the way we've been dealing with the planet's not exactly whole, but we're whole beings. We are not broken people. So having help doesn't mean you're broken. It means that you're smart. I am going to get a tool that's going to help me connect to my self-care. And what is self-care? Well, self-care is knowing the next right action of how to stay connected to source energy, to the consciousness that made you, and not to go past your 24 hours. What do I need to do today to stay in alignment with my higher power's greatest desire for me? Or how do I stay in alignment with my highest intentions for today, right? Because nobody wants to be sitting around in their dirty diapers, freaking out and thinking that the world is coming to an end. You know what I mean? They're like, no, but we're scared. Yes, okay, fine. But we can use the oracle cards to help us out of fear. We can even ask that one question. What do I need to do in order to get out of fear? For those of you who can't afford a card deck, who can't afford a class with me, you can go for free on my website and just pick those cards there, right? So we have something for everybody, including that, we have a lower priced course coming out. So, but here's the thing. So I am going to use this deck because this is the deck that I teach with. This is Wisdom of the Oracle. And this is the one that was created with the most care around sectioned out subject matter. If you want to ask about your prosperity, your relationships, a general reading, or a protection reading, like how do I protect myself, blah, blah, blah. So I will pull 3 cards to tell the story of all of us today. What do we all need to know to stay in alignment? And when we say stay in alignment with our faith and our trust, that we're okay, right? That we're okay. What do we need to do? Right? What do we need to do to get there? Oh my gosh, this is hilarious. You can't make this up. So the first card is happy, happy.
And hold that up for just a moment there so we can all see it. Happy, happy. Yeah. Woohoo! You speak it in my language.
Okay. Now this is very interesting because I'm going to read the happy, happy card because you have a guidebook too, you guys. It's easy to use. These oracle cards are the easiest things once you're willing to get over your biases and get the hang of it. So, but I'll read from the guidebook. Joy and contentment, a feeling that all is well. And that's okay. So I know that what is in front of us is not an indicator of the truth. It is a temporary condition, and we cannot decide that we're okay or not okay by looking at our outer conditions to dictate to us whether that is true or false. All right? It is an inside job first. So it says, your desires are being effortlessly fulfilled now, even if you can't see it. Find joy in the present moment, whatever is happening, and be satisfied that with things as they are. You are free from the shackles of longing and able to experience the liberation that comes from actually being happy in the moment. And when you choose happiness over yearning for happiness, as if it was someplace down the road, now is the time for feeling joy just for the sake of joy. Be like a little kid, experience contentment. None of this is because of something outside of yourself. You cannot find it there. Your happiness is a result of your being at one with Spirit's plan for your life. All is well. The tide is in for now. Enjoy splashing in it. So that's for, this is not something that's happening just to a few people. This is happening to every single person on the planet. This is a global experience of that's what we need to do to release fear, is we need to step into playfulness, joy, and curiosity, right? And we do that by being like a little kid and saying, okay, for 24 hours, I can't do anything about this, so I am going to choose joy. Now, the next action is co-create. So it's about being creative, trusting that in your creation, you're not the only one making these creative choices and creative actions and finger painting or whatever it is. It doesn't mean just to do arts and crafts at home, although it does also, but it's you're co-creating the world. Are you going to create the world from fear and anger and retaliation and all this stuff that's still going on in the internet? It's like, I don't even want to pay attention to that, but or do you want to create a world again from love, from community, from connection, where you matter and everyone matters? Everybody's going to matter. Okay, so we have to think about that. We have to really, that is, again, but if we stay in the 24 hours, it's just be creative. What are you going to do? Like bake a cake, make cookies, hang out with your kids, finger paint your face, take your makeup on and off. I don't know, curl your hair, whatever it is. It's so simple. It can be so simple. And you want to know what's even funnier? Time for a nap.
I love these cards.
Right? What else do? You nap. You get rest. There's a beautiful, beautiful saying on one of my cards, and I got it actually from ancient runes, Norse runes. And it says, when fishermen cannot go to sea, they stay home and repair their nets. And repairing isn't about when something is broken necessarily. Repairing is to make better, to mend, right? To make amends. So it is, and also right now, every single human being needs to forgive anyone that's done anything to them. Even if you think, oh, that's really hard for me to do. That person insulted me. They came after me. They did this or did that. And I have to tell you that I came to the conclusion that I don't have any room in my heart for anger or resentments anymore. They can't live inside me and me be here honestly. It's like and making the amends where you need to, making the changes where you can. Sometimes you can't. Sometimes you just can't. But you need to know, if I'm going to start again, I got to let everybody else start again too.
Beautiful, beautiful. So let's say that we have a deck of cards ourselves. How do we start to do this?
I'm a big believer in one card a day. Less is more. Don't clutter it and complicate things. One card, a reflecting card. And you can do that on my website. You can do 3 cards too. But ultimately, if you don't know and you're new, I would just say the one card. And then if you want to choose a second clarification card on that, and that's what we teach in my school too. Like in all my classes, I start everybody with one card. I have people coming in there, yeah, but I know 10 card readings and 21 card readings. And what I'm telling you right now, you're going to start with my cards, one card, right? Because you can get so much information from one card. Like right now, well, I'm going to pull one card.
All right.
And is to answer the question, what do we all need to do right now about trusting the universe? Okay.
Perfect.
And it's serendipity. Like you can't make that up. Like serendipity, that's about trusting that that the universe will work in our favor. If we take one step towards the gods, they take 10 steps towards us. That's mythologist Joseph Campbell. That's what he said. Right? It's like, that is what we need to do. One card. That was just one card.
What is the serendipity, we'll say, going on behind the scenes that makes these so uncannily accurate?
Oh my God, I could talk for hours about that. So let's go to Swiss psychologist Carl Jung.
Yes.
And Carl Jung coined the phrase synchronicity, which meant that a meaningful coincidence without any prior known impetus brings together seemingly disparate things to create an opportunity that is so deeply meaningful, it is shocking. So we don't know. That's the phenomena. So really, this is a phenomena. But I've had plenty of years. I mean, my whole life has been about divination, and creating tools like this. And certainly, I mean, I have 12 decks now. We've sold almost 1 million copies of my decks and over 1 million downloads of my card readings on apps. So I must know something, right? And I can't, so I'm a bit of an expert here because I have put the time in, but I'm always open to learn new things. And so my theory on this is that, kind of like how Greg Braden describes the divine matrix, and quantum physics describes how consciousness is basically permeates everything and everywhere, and like an animus, I believe that when we set an intention and we're requiring some form of answer, it's like through this law of synchronicity that everything lines up to provide it for us because consciousness is engaged. Like, we really are engaging the universe. Now that said, I've also got oracle cards that don't work like that, and they're not mine, but because I can only speak for mine, because mine were actually fashioned. I spent many years creating what's called a lexicon, or a language that made sense in different decks, and I have different lexicons, one for 44, one for 52, one for 64, like that make them work. Like, and they don't always work if you have one missing. So you have to figure out a way, like, okay, so how does this work together? And I test them for months before they actually click. So the tarot, for example, has a built-in lexicon. It is perfect as it is. It's 78 cards. It's always going to be that. It's a fixed system, but oracle cards are different. And mine are derivative of ancient systems. And I have to play with them to make sure, how do they work? Because they have to speak to our modern world as well. And our psychology, some of which is similar to our ancient ancestors, and some of it's very different.
What is oracular consciousness, and how we can begin to cultivate this through this time?
I wanted to talk about that in this new class. Consciousness, our oracular consciousness, causes us to pay attention. Because sometimes a rock's just going to be a rock, and a truck's just going to be a truck. But when you just said red button, and all of a sudden red button truck, you are reminded. Oracular consciousness reminds us of our origins. And our origins are spirit first, human second. And it reminds us of the magic that is everywhere. And some people don't care about that, but I do.
How do we not let go, or not lose, or even grow that trust and faith during this time?
Well, it's actually simpler than you think. If you look at a book by Viktor Frankl called Man in Search of Meaning, you have a book written by a man who survived a concentration camp, and he talked about what it was like for the people who ended up surviving and thriving, regardless of what was happening. And I also, in one of my 11/11 videos that are on my main Facebook page, I talk about the Stockton paradox, about how Admiral Stockton was stuck in the Hanoi Hilton, right? He was in Vietnam, and he talked about how optimism about when it's going to be over didn't help anybody. It actually hurt them because they were always breaking their hearts. But if he just held the space, no matter what they did to him, that one day there would be freedom and liberation and goodness and joy again, and cake or whatever, and pie, apple pie, whatever it was. He didn't know when. He just waited. He just knew one day. And he never let go his faith that one day these things would change. He just didn't put any form on that. And that's how he stopped. He did not look at his conditions. to dictate to him whether that belief in him were true or false, because it had no relationship anymore to the expiration date. How are you going to deal with it? Well, you're going to have a choice. And I can tell you that those soldiers didn't make it. The ones who were only, oh yeah, by Wednesday, we're going to get out of here. And it didn't happen. Or in 2 years, and it didn't happen. And when this happens, then I'll be okay. You cannot look at the outer world, the conditions of the outer world to tell you whether you're okay or not, even if temporarily you are without. You are without what your comforts are used to. I went shopping the other night. And now I'm a Cancerian, right? So Cancerians are very like all about security and food, and, right? I'm with the mommies of the universe, and I love my Cancerian qualities. Thank God the rest of my chart is fire though, so I wouldn't be weeping all the time. But because I'm very sensitive. And I saw the fact that people had emptied the shelves. It was like, what? There's enough. That was like saying, I don't believe there's enough. And man, I got into, like, my husband's looking at me going, we don't need that. I'm like, we might. And I'm like putting it back. Oh, what am I doing? What am I doing?
We get into autopilot of,
yes.
Not consciousness, I'll call it the field. We get into the autopilot, the vibration of fear, of lack that is all around us right now.
And even I did. You know, it was really funny. Well before this happened, I bought extra toilet paper. And my husband said, why did you buy all that toilet paper?
Me too.
I don't even know. I'm like, I have no idea, because we have a bidet. We can wash. You know what I mean? We don't need any paper. Like, you know what I'm saying? We have the European style way to wash our and I'm like, I have no idea. I had no idea why I had to get that. And we shared it. You know, we ended up sharing it with some people who didn't get it. It was just shock. Like, so this sense of not enough is the one thing we need to combat. We need to combat that and be like bears. You know, when bears go in, there's this bear consciousness where the bear trusts. And when the bear stops, like the bear hibernates, it stops eating so that all the other creatures can get more food. It's like a cycle that affects everybody. So there's more than for the animals that can't hibernate. It's really interesting. So it's like, give us a chance, give us a beat. And if you have hoarded food, share it with people less fortunate. I tried to buy my sister toilet paper. They wanted $463 on Amazon. Yes. So I ended up sending her all this Kleenex, which is not good, like, you know, but still, because, you know, anyway, it was just like, we have to change the idea of scarcity. You know, there's a lot of people a lot worse. And I think I can only speak for the way we're behaving here in the West, you know, because there's people all over the world that don't have a clue what it's like to have extra toilet paper. Yeah, it's like, it's time, you know, make amends and move on. It's time. So let's do that meditation, can we?
Unless you're driving down the road. There, I'll put one more stipulation. If you're driving down the road, do this later.
So what I'd love you guys to do is just put your feet on the ground, like flat, side by side, and close your eyes and take a deep breath. And just allow your discomfort to come forward in just, you know, let your body feel the feelings. Like, let yourself be scared if you need to. But I'd love for you to name your stress. Like, just name it, and name it as an emotion. Like, for me, stress is fear. So I can just say that it's fear. And fear manifests in like anxiety. Whatever yours is. Even if you're feeling really good today, this is really good for you to do for when you might have a moment. So let's imagine now, let's take another step. And I'm just going to use the word fear, and whatever you use is good with you. So if fear was a place instead of a feeling that I felt, and it was a place that I was temporarily visiting, what would that place look like?
It is a crystal cavern, but instead of the crystals being at safe angles from you, they're all very sharp and jagged like broken glass. And if you're not super careful, you're going to cut yourself on them.
Wow. Okay. So mine, if I look at my fear, my place is a burnt out forest. And like I'm in Australia in the fires. That's where I am right now. That's for me. Fear is seeing the devastation. So I don't want to stay there, and I bet you don't want to stay there either. So I'm going to ask you and everyone listening to this to call upon a winged creature that chose you at birth. So it could be a bird or a dragon or an angel, but this being with wings chose you when you were born and is coming now to help you. And whatever shows up, just pay attention to it and what color it is. And if it's tiny, you want to get tiny too so you can get on its back. And if it's really big, you can just imagine yourself crawling on its back because it wants you to come and sit there. And it's so comfortable. So I want you to move your sits bones a little bit side by side. And you're like, wow, I'm in the most comfortable seat in my life on the back of this wild thing with wing. Go over the side of the wing, and how big or small is the place that represented your fear now? Do you even see it? Mine's a dot. Mine is a teeny black dot. I can't even see it now. Now I can't. It looks like a pencil, like when a pencil dot. And does that have any influence on you now at all? Yes or no? Let your body just really feel that sense of freedom now. And bring yourself back into your chair.
Where do people go to find out more and to find your beautiful cards and program, Colette?
They just need to go to my website, ColetteBaronReid.com. You can start there. You can join me on Instagram, just my name, Colette Baron Reid, and Facebook, just Colette Baron Reid. And we'll post the links to the free masterclass too that you guys might be interested in doing. But really get on my newsletter list because we have lots of free stuff specifically that we send you.
So for everyone out there, this is Michael Sandler saying, be well, have fun, get the Spirit Animal Oracle and join Oracle Cards 101 and begin plugging back into spirit today and shine bright. Woohoo!
Michael, I've got to say something about you right now. I just felt this wave of love for you, and I know your wife too, and you are the most sincere human being. And I do your show because I know you genuinely are, like, you are the real deal. You genuinely mean every word you say. You are really doing this for the right reasons, and I'm very proud to be here in this moment with you.
If you like this video, then you're a light worker, you're a light warrior, and we need your love and light. We need to crank it up to the max. That's why we're offering boot camps. You can check them out down below. Monday through Friday events, 1 hour a day, almost free, to help you crank your light up to the max, get you in the most positive place possible, boost your immune system to the max, and help you to help the world to shine bright. We're also offering YouTube live events every Saturday and Sunday during this time to help you overcome fear, overcome worry, overcome stress, and again, boost up your immune system. These tapping events, these boot camps, all involve group meditations where we come together, set group intention, help you help yourself, help your family, and help the entire world. You're a light worker. Your time is now, so come join us. Click below for these extra special events. I'm still glowing from the Oracle card interview I just did with Colette Baron Reid. To check out more Colette Baron Reid interviews and Oracle card interviews and plugging into spirit interviews, click here, subscribe below, click on that bell icon to be notified of all our amazing upcoming YouTube lives and premieres. Leave your comments below, big thumbs up, and we've got a boot camp coming up to help boost your positivity. Check it out with the links below. Can't wait to see you there. Shine bright. Woohoo! Love you guys.